you is, are you ready to accept the call of a mentor?
Excuse me, sir. I have an Alexa, and some people, I have a Google downstairs and Alexa upstairs in my office. And, it's new, it was on sale on Amazon, so I bought it. Didn't know what to do with it, but I bought it. And my youngest daughter helped me to get it all handled and fixed up and stuff. And the other day, it said, you know how she talks to you if you have one. She said, I can program to recognize your voice.
Oh.
I'm like, okay, I can do that. That would be great. So I did that. So she tells you to say all these things so she can recognize your voice, right? The next day, my husband comes in my office and he says, Alexa, what's the weather? And do you know she answered him?
That's because I pay the mortgage.
And she recognizes my voice. How is she answering him? I mean, it's a device. I got a little upset, just a little bit. Upset, So that's kind of where we're going today is, God says, my sheep hear my voice. And I'll tell you that in a second, Chris. So the question I have for you today is, whose voice are you listening to?
Oh.
Okay, whose voice are you listening to? It could even be your own voice if it's not telling you what God says about you. So whose voice are you listening to? So if I can get a couple people to read, because I like reading different translations.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to be coming from the Passion. If somebody has a Living, Amplified, I do need your help if you can pull some of this up. So there's a couple ways that, we can hear God's voice. He wants us to listen to his voice. He also wants to hear our voice. You know what I'm saying? We can all, even when we worship today, he can distinctly know each of our voices, even if we're singing as one, right? So there's a couple ways that we can hear his voice. The first way is just knowing him as in a relationship, okay? If my kids or my husband comes in the house, I know their voices, right? I know their voices because I have a relationship with them. So in John 10, the first verse, can you put it up for me, Chris?
There you
go. Okay, this is in the Passion, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Let me pull mine up. Talking about y'all, pull y'all's up.
Take your time.
All right, so it says, Jesus said to the Pharisees, y'all listen to this. Listen to this eternal truth. The person who sneaks over the wall to enter into the sheep pen, rather than coming through the gate, reveals himself as a thief coming to steal.
Yeah.
Now, this is a parable about sheep, the sheep and the gatekeeper and the shepherd, right? But the true shepherd walks right up to the gate. So, and because the gatekeeper knows who he is, he opens the gate to let him in. And the sheep recognize the voice of the true shepherd, right? So he calls his own by name and leads them out, for they belong to him. Okay? So, getting ready for this, I had to look up something about sheep. I don't know much about animals. Okay? So I had to look up things about sheep. And it said that sheep will kind of follow anybody. They're not as smart and this and that, but that's really not true. So if somebody has that in the Amplified or Living, anybody? The first, you got it?
I have the New Living Trend.
Okay, I can take that. Can you read it out loud for me, son? Thank you.
To which verse?
To 1 through 3.
Okay. I tell you the truth. Anyone who sneaks over the wall of a sheepfold rather than going through the gate most surely be a thief and a robber. But the one who enters through the gate is the shepherd of the sheep. The gatekeeper opens the gate for him, and the sheep recognizes his voice and comes to him.
Mm-hmm. Anybody got Amplified?
I have the King James.
Okay, I take that.
Verily, verily, I say unto you, he that entereth not by the door into the sheepfold, but climbeth up some other way, the same is a thief and a robber. But he that entereth in by the door is the shepherd of the sheep. To him the poor, the porter opened, and the sheep hear his voice, and he called his own sheep by name and leaded them out.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Amen. He knows. We know his voice.
I have the Amplified.
Can you read that?
10:1.
10:1. Mm-hmm.
I assure you, and most solemnly say to you, he who does not enter by the door into the sheepfold, but climbs up from some other place, that one is a thief and a robber. But he who enters by the door is the shepherd of the sheep. I read verse 2 too.
And 3.
Verse 3 says, the doorkeeper opens for this man, and the sheep hear his voice and pay attention to it. Right. And that they listen, he calls his own sheep by name and leads them out.
Yeah. So the gatekeeper is not opening the door for anybody. It has to be the right one, right? Mm-hmm. So who is the gatekeeper for you? Right? Okay, verse 4 says, and when he has brought out all his sheep, he walks ahead of them. The Lord is walking ahead of us. He walks ahead of them and they will follow him, for they are familiar with his voice. Yes. Are we familiar with his voice? Yes. Even over our own voice. Boy, we can talk some negative stuff to ourselves.
Come on.
Mm-hmm. We can call ourselves different things. We can say what we can't do. All this stuff. But whose voice? Are you believing that over the voice of God? But they, verse 5 says, but they will run away from strangers and never follow them because they know it's the voice of a stranger. Yeah. So even when we're talking to ourselves, you can run away from your own voice. Right. Because you know that is not what God says about me.
Come on.
That is not what God says about that person. Jesus told the Pharisees this parable, even though they didn't understand a word of what he meant. Man, he said, oh, y'all didn't understand a word of what he meant? Okay. So, verse 7, you got that? Okay. So, verse 7 says, so Jesus went over it again. Again. He said, okay, I'm not going to leave you not understanding. Let me tell you this again. Let me say this again. I speak to you eternal truth. Say it again. I am the gate for the flock. All those who broke in before me,
Come on.
So who were you believing before you found the Lord? Okay? Who were you believing before you found the Lord? All those who broke in before me are thieves who came to steal, but the sheep never listened to them. Listen to this one. I am the gateway. To enter through me is to experience life, freedom, and satisfaction. All right? Let me go back to something. What verse is that? I just said. That was 9. Okay. In this, he says he's the gatekeeper. So nobody has to let him in. He's the gatekeeper. He's the one. Jesus is the actual gatekeeper. Others come to steal the affections that belong only to Jesus. Others that come to steal, other voices, other people, whatever it is, they're not coming after you per se. They're coming after what you want, what affections that you have for the Lord. What affections, you say? Thank you for asking. It is believing, right? That's an affection when you believe something. It's also trusting. Is that an affection?
Yeah.
Trusting is an affection.
It got to be.
Right? Those are types of affection. Oh man, I love my own voice. That's an affection. So you want to be sure that you are not letting something come in to steal the affections of only what belongs to God. Only belongs to him. And some other voice wants to come in and steal that. And of course, the enemy wants to come and steal it. I don't want to call him number one. He's not. But he wants to be the one that comes in and steal the affections of the Lord from you. All right? He wants you to trust him more. He wants you to love him more. He wants you to believe him more. He wants you to trust him more than you trust the Lord.
Wow.
Wow. Right. So he can hurt you more.
Come on.
Amen. Somebody say amen.
Amen.
All right. Jesus told the Pharisees, I'm sorry, I'm at 9, I'm at 10. Let's skip down to 14, which you said you don't have, right, Chris?
We don't have 13. We have 14.
Okay, give me 14. He says, I alone am the good shepherd.
Yes.
He's the only one. I know those whose hearts are mine. For they
Yes.
recognize me and they know me.
Amen.
Just as my Father knows my heart and I know my Father's heart, I am ready to give my life for the sheep.
Wow.
All right? Which he has done.
Yes.
Which he has done.
Amen.
He said, I'm ready to give my life for my sheep, which he did. He's not going to he's going to be the gatekeeper. I don't know if I read that part where it says that others, when the wolves come, if there's a gatekeeper or some stranger or a thief that comes and pretends like he's a gatekeeper, as soon as the wolves come for the sheep, they run. You're like, you can have them. They run. But the Lord is not running, right? He is the gatekeeper. He's going to stand right there. He's going to fight for you. He's going to fight for you. Even if he has to fight you for you.
Wow.
He has to fight your thoughts for you. He's gonna fight for you. Amen? Sometimes you say, Lord, fight for me, because I don't know what I'm saying to myself. He will. He will fight for you. The other way to hear God's voice is through his word. Romans 10:17. Let's see if we can find that. 10:17.
I got it.
What do you have translation, sir?
I have Amplified.
Okay. Can you read 17?
Yes. So faith comes from hearing what is told, and what is heard comes by the preaching of the message concerning Christ.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Verse 18?
No, just 17. Faith then is birthed in a heart that responds to God's anointed utterance of the anointed one. So another way that we hear is through his word, right?
Yes.
Yeah, knowing his voice through his word. So if you're saying something opposite to yourself, or somebody else is saying something, the enemy is saying something to you that's the opposite of what God has already said, then go to his word. The truth is there.
Come on.
Or know the word. You hide it in your heart so you already know. You can combat the negative with the positive that God has already given us.
Amen.
Amen. God has already given us the information. Like he had to tell the Pharisees twice. Like, you don't understand. Let me tell you again. Did you hear me? Did you hear me the first time?
Nope. So I'm gonna say it again. Come on.
So I'm saying it again. Whose voice are you listening to? I remember story. You know the old saying that kids are cruel in school. Boy, they was cruel to me in school. And
Oh yeah.
growing up, being bullied, I was the one that's being bullied. Believe it or not, you know how they bully me. I don't understand. Believe it or not, but at that age, because I didn't know, I believe what they said.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? I believe what they said. And being an adult now who knows Christ and loves Christ, we still get bullied. But the difference is, I don't believe what they said.
Amen.
I don't believe what they say. Amen.
Amen.
I don't believe what they say because I already know what God has said about me, what he has said about my family, what he wants for my family, what he wants for me. I already know that.
Yeah.
So I hear his voice. And I hear his voice through his word. I hear his voice through the pastors. Boy, Pastor Ken is always in my head. Keep your powder dry. Keep your powder dry. Be ready. You know, just different things. I hear his voice. So whose voice are you listening to? All right, I told you about my Alexa story. Now I got to go home and fix her.
So she don't listen to me.
But she don't listen to nobody but me. All right? I'm going to have to text her, so I'm going to ask my husband to come in and ask her what the weather is. And she better not answer. You know? So God is saying that. You better not believe that. You better not believe that. You better not believe that.
Wow.
Don't believe that. I'm here. I'm fighting for you.
That's heavy.
I'm fighting the wars for you. I am your gatekeeper.
Yeah.
I'm going to stand right here. Can you put that picture up for me, Chris? I'm going to stand right here, and I'm fighting for you. This is the sheep's pen. This is where the gatekeeper stands.
Yeah.
That's where the gatekeeper stands. We're inside there. That's our life in there. When we're coming out, God is leading us out of that. He's leading us out. And those that crawl across the wall because they can't get through Jesus, they try to come in a whole nother way. Jesus is right there like, I see what you're doing. I see what you're doing. So God says, don't believe that.
Wow.
Don't believe that. When they crawl over the wall for you, don't believe that. Because they're not getting in. They're not getting in. He is the gatekeeper. Even when you're talking to yourself, saying negative things about yourself, don't believe that because he's the gatekeeper.
Amen.
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 He is the good shepherd.
Yes.
Now, I
Yes.
want you to understand the difference. There's a gatekeeper. In that word, there's a gatekeeper, yes. But Jesus says, move out the way, gatekeeper. I'm standing here. I'm going to be the one keeping this gate. There's different pens, right? But I'm going to be the one keeping this gate. He is our gatekeeper. Amen.
Amen.
So I close by saying, whose voice are you listening to? Amen. Give God some praise.
Yes.
Thank you, Lord.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to our podcast today, The Call of a Mentor. If you'd like to leave a positive comment or if you'd like to be on our show, please give us a call at 757-737-8714 or you can drop us a text message. You can also email us at communityservant85@yahoo.com. We look forward to hearing from you.
The Call of a Mentor is a production of Marriage Map Ministries and EOVBAA in association with Overwhelming Victory Radio. Our executive producers are Dwight and Angela McDowell and Dr. Greg Linville, with Andrew Fouts as our associate producer. To find out more about Overwhelming Victory Radio or to listen to any of our sister podcasts, visit overwhelmingvictory.org.